of time. To your point, right now, I'm not sure what we're in. And which way is the best way to go, we're still evaluating that.
97 on the ticket. There is disgraced Tigers general manager Al Avila about a week and a half ago talking about what to do with Spencer Torkelson. Of course, he found out today that the Tigers decided to demote him to AAA finally. 248-539-9797, asking you guys not only what you think Torkelson is going to be like in 3 years, but also about the first half of the Tigers season. They are 37-55, 18 games below 500. They're on pace to go 65-97. So are things going to be about the same, better, or worse in the second half? And I think that things are going to get worse. And I've got multiple reasons why. But here's number one. The offense is still bad. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's not like the offense has shown signs of improvement for, what, about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. They showed some signs of improvement when Riley Green joined the team, and people were talking about a Riley Green effect. But look at what they've done in the last 9 games since that 6-game winning streak ended. It looks a heck of a lot more familiar. It looks a lot like we saw before Riley Green was promoted, which was the vast majority of the season. I mean, they got shut out yesterday, getting shut out. I think they've scored 20 runs in their last 9 games in this stretch of 1-8 baseball. This is the Tigers team that we're used to seeing. Poor offense. Number 2 reason why I think the Tigers are going to get worse. The trade deadline is coming up in about 2 weeks. I believe this year it's on August 2nd as opposed to July 31st for whatever reason. But Al Avila could trade away a bullpen arm or 2. Whether it's Soto or Lang or Fulmer or somebody else. That's been the strength of the team. And you could argue that it's the right decision for the future, or that it's not, or even if it is the right decision, Avila's going to draft the wrong players. But if we're talking about it through the lens of what's going to happen for the rest of this season, if he trades away a bullpen arm or 2, that means those 1-run deficits in the 7th or 8th are less likely to stand, so that Eric Haas can come up and get a clutch home run to tie the game or take the lead. It also means that those 1- and 2-run leads are more likely to be blown in the 7th and 8th innings if you trade away Fulmer, or you trade away Soto, or you trade away Jimenez or Lang or something like that for prospects. Third, innings limits. This is something I had not considered, but I heard Dan Dickerson bring it up yesterday during the Tigers versus Guardians game. The Tigers were going into this season believing that Skubal and Mize would not have any innings restrictions because they'd be in their 3rd full Major League seasons. And Manning, he might not have a very significant innings restriction going into his 2nd Major League season. And then, of course, with Eduardo Rodriguez, he's a veteran, so he would not have any innings limits. Skubal is the only one of those guys currently in the rotation. The rest of the current starting rotation, outside of Michael Pineda, those guys are supposed to be minor leaguers. And when you think about guys like Bo Brisky, who's got the 2nd most starts on the team this year, he's never thrown 150 innings in the minor leagues. You know, Faeno, Hutchison, these guys, as you get closer to the end of the season, they're going to be going 4 and 5 innings to preserve their arms. They might be skipping starts. They could be shut down for the final 3 to 6 weeks of the season, depending on their innings limits and restrictions. And when that happens, it's going to further tax the bullpen. You saw what happened when the bullpen was taxed these last couple of days. It was ugly. And if the bullpen is taxed and it's been depleted by an Al Avila trade or 2, like if their bullpen is taxed because they've been overworked, because the last 5 games their starters have only been going 4 innings, and then of course, let's say they've already traded away Alex Lang, that's a huge recipe for disaster. Reason number the schedule. These last couple of weeks, they've been playing a bunch of AL Central teams, and not the Twins. They've been playing the White Sox, below 500, Guardians, right around 500, and the Royals. And they've been struggling. Once they get out of the All-Star break, they've got the doubleheader on Wednesday against the Oakland Athletics, the worst team in the American League. Then, on Friday, the schedule turns wicked. They start a 13-game stretch against teams that have winning records. And most of these teams, if not all, most of these teams are well above 500. They've got the Twins, then the Padres, then the Blue Jays, then the Twins again, then the Rays, and then the Guardians. After those 2 games against the A's, they've got those 6 series, which eat up 19 games. That takes them through August 11th. You didn't hear me mention the Royals. You didn't hear me mention the Pirates. And then once that stretch of 19 games ends and they play a team that currently has a losing record, it's the White Sox who are only 1 game below 500. So not a bottom feeder, and then they've got 4 more games against the Guardians. So the schedule is going to make things very challenging for the Tigers, definitely straight out the gate after that A's series. And then number 5, apathy. I think apathy is definitely going to kick in with the Tigers because they're going to be tired of not scoring very many runs. They're going to be tired of all these losing performances. They're going to be tired of seeing themselves fall further and further back in the playoff race because if you're a major league player, you're still thinking that there's a shot that you could be in the playoffs this year. Or we got to win the division, or whatever the reason might be. We're going to get rejuvenated. But as the losing piles up and the runs continue to not pile up, and as the fans continue to not show up at Comerica Park and they're playing home games in front of 10,000 fans who are all looking at their phones, I think that's going to make things more conducive to a very poor second half. I think they'll probably go 20 and 50 down the stretch, which would get them to 57 and 105, and I think that would be pleasing enough for the owner to not fire Al Avila. It's not my belief that he should be back, but I believe that if he goes 20 and 50 down the stretch and the Tigers finish with a record of 57 and 105, that would be a good enough record for Chris Ilitch to say that Avila should come back. And I think that given we have been so wrong so many times about what it's going to take for Avila to finally get fired, I think it's going to take something like the Tigers going 10 and 60 down the stretch. Maybe worse. Maybe they'll have to go be worse than 10 and 60. But if they go 10 and 60 down the stretch, they'll finish with a record of 47 and 115, which would probably be the worst record in baseball for the second time, either the second or third time in Al Avila's brief tenure as GM. That might be enough to get him fired. I don't think the Tigers are quite that bad, and they'll go 10 and 60 down the stretch. 20 and 50, I think, is more likely. But what do you think the Tigers are going to do in their final 70 games of the season? Here's a ticket text from Rich in Rochester who says, stop being so damn negative. I'm not being negative or positive. I'm telling you what I think is going to happen. And I think you're going to see a baseball team that's worse. Now, it's not like you're refuting that, Rich. You haven't refuted that at all. You just want me to stop being so negative when I'm not being negative or positive. I'm telling you what I think is going to happen, which you refuse to do. Probably because you're afraid to admit what you think is going to happen. 248-539-9797. I am Brian Chapman, 97 on the ticket. What's my ETA?
Your estimated time of arrival is 9:17.
I'm late. I'll have to punch it.
Speeding will save you just 1 minute and 36 seconds. It will also increase your risk of a crash, as well as the odds that you will be stopped and issued an expensive speeding ticket.
Yeah, but...
In 1 year, there were 22,000 speeding-related crashes in Michigan, resulting in 200 deaths.
If I had someone in the car with me, I'd drive slower. But it's just me.
This is not a logical response. Though you have no passengers, surrounding cars contain 27 others, including 5 children and 1 Labrador Retriever.
How do you know all this stuff?
I know everything, Kevin.
Your risk of a crash increases with every mile you drive over the speed limit. So slow down. Speed enforcement is happening now. A message from the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning.
Hi, Harry Glantz from Capital Mortgage Funding. Rates are at historic lows, and they're not going down to zero. So what are you waiting for? The 1-800-LOW-RATE. Let our award-winning staff help you save money. If you're looking to purchase a new home, refinance your existing home, and you want to save money, call 1-800-LOW-RATE and take advantage of these historic low rates. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. What are you waiting for? Call 1-800-LOW-RATE. Capital Mortgage Funding is powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, NMLS ID number 2289, Equal Housing Lender.
We've always had villains to face, bad guys to take down. You,
You're worse than all of them put together. You are the most horrible of all.
pure evil.
Just because you're tough doesn't mean we can't beat you.
We're not here because we have to be. We are here because we've had enough of you. We all have the power to do something,
To change something.
to stand up to cancer. Every single one of us is mortal, even me.
Even me. But inside of us,
We are all heroes.
one person is not a team.
But when we join together,
Together.
you didn't stand a chance. We are glorious.
We're resilient.
We are powerful. And we will win. So stand up with us. Stand up to fight. Stand up to win.
Visit standuptocancer.org to learn more.
There's a place to share the joy of your team winning it all, and a place to share a laugh about skiing and taking a fall. There's a place to share photos of pets, or singing in the choir, or the time you ate a pepper and your mouth was on fire. But we could all be better at sharing how we're feeling inside. 76% of employees have struggled with at least one issue that affected their mental health. When you share, you're not alone. Ask about your company's emotional health benefits. Visit part.org/sharing. Brought to you by the American Heart Association.
Breaking news on 97.1 The Ticket is brought to you by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified. WXYT FM and WXYT HD1 Detroit. An Odyssey station. Live in the Jamie Samuelson studio. Here's Brian Chapman on 97.1 The Ticket.
All right, 97.1. This MLB draft is taking forever. They're about an hour in, and there's 7 picks in the first round. I get that they know a lot more about these high school players and college players and the rest of us, but they need to have more than just 7 picks per hour. I think the NFL draft is the slowest. And that's the draft that has the most interest. The NBA draft is the draft that has the second most interest, and maybe I'll have to go back and look, but I have to imagine that they went through more than just 7 players in the first round. When it comes to the baseball draft, this should be, a pick every 5 minutes, and not 5 minutes to be on the clock, and then 2 minutes to run the pick up to Rob Manfred, and then another minute for him to walk up there. Like every 5 minutes there should be a pick, so that would be 12 picks per hour. This is asinine to have 7 picks in the first round, but the Tigers are picking 12th, so we might not see their pick until like 8:40 at this pace. It's kind of ridiculous. But we're talking right now about the ridiculous first half of the Tigers season, and whether you think the Tigers are going to be about the same, a little bit better, or even worse in the second half of the season. I think they'll be worse. I think in their final 70 games, they'll be about 20-50. But I also wanted to mention at this time that Usually I'm on from 8 p.m. until midnight on Sundays. That's not the case today due to the rain out. I'm on from 6 to 10 p.m. and we usually play Man, Woman, or Child at 10:15, but we had to move that up. So we're going to be playing Man, Woman, or Child at 8:15 today. And for those of you that are unfamiliar, it's pretty simple. I've got 5 headlines, and what I'm going to do is read the headline to the listener or my producer, Dan, depending on if we get a contestant today. And that person, that contestant, has to guess whether the individual named is a man, a woman, or a child. And a child is defined as somebody age 17 years old or younger. If you get 3 out of the 5 headlines correct, then you're a winner, and your prize for winning is you will have 30 seconds to say whatever you want about any host on the station. It could be Gator, it could be Valenti, it could be Costa, it could be Rieger, Stoney, whoever. It could be a positive comment or a negative comment. It just has to be within reason, because we're not getting any FCC violations because of your comments. Now, if you're wondering, well, can you give me an example of how this works? Here's an example from last week, and I'll have my producer, Dan, make the guess. You ready, Dan?
I'm ready.
All right. Individual hailed for nerves of steel after taking a selfie with bear that sneaked up on him or her. The story says that it was a black bear. Bringing race into the conversation. It was a black bear. It happened in Mexico when the bear approached a group of hikers. The bear started sniffing one of the hikers in the crotch, then got on its hind legs and sniffed the hiker in the head. And while the bear was sniffing the hiker, he or she snapped a selfie while others reported this incident on video. Was that hiker who took a selfie with a wild black bear a man, a woman, or a child?
I'm gonna go with woman, just because I think women like to take more selfies than men.
Interesting. Is the answer woman?
That's amazing. How did you do that?
Very good guess, Dan. It was a woman. And for those of you that listened last week, after the incident, the bear was captured later on and was castrated and then set free on a mountain range. So that's a pretty rough penalty for taking a picture with a hiker is you get castrated. If you're a bear, stay away from hikers so that you get to keep your man parts. But that's how we play Man, Woman, or Child. You can call up right now, 248-539-9797. And we'll take the first caller to play Man, Woman, or Child coming up at 8:15. But I want to get back to some of these ticket texts about what you think the Tigers are going to do in the second half of the season, because once again, I think the Tigers are going to be worse. They're on pace right now to go 67-95. I think they'll be worse. I think they'll go about 20-50 down the stretch for some of the reasons that I outlined, including innings limits on the starting pitching staff, which is already depleted, trading away a piece or two at the deadline from the bullpen, apathy, all sorts of reasons to believe that the Tigers are actually going to get worse in the second half, and the offense is still bad and not really getting better. But here are some of the ticket texts coming in on both the second half of the season and still ticket texts coming in on Spencer Torkelson, like this one from Jorge. My opinion, they're going to get worse. I'm a firm believer that due to pitching restrictions, the use of the bullpen, and the shift has hitting at such a disadvantage that you are going to see a lot of up-and-coming players struggle. So if you don't have any bashers or somebody in the middle of the lineup who can hit the damn ball, your offense is going to struggle. Well, look, the Tigers are not the only team that has up-and-coming players. The Tigers, though, all of their up-and-coming players struggle. I mean, there are up-and-coming players on all 30 teams in Major League Baseball, whether you're talking about the starting rotation, bullpen, or the lineup. You look at the Baltimore Orioles. They got a bunch of up-and-coming players on their team. Their players obviously are panning out because they've got, a 10-game, 11-game winning streak, something like that. 10 out of 11, whatever the case may be, and now they have a winning record, and I believe they're either right on the outside of the playoff picture or right on the outside of the playoffs or even in the playoffs if they were to start today. It's just that the Tigers' up-and-coming players, they all stink. They can't hit. That's the problem. So I don't think it's the shift that's unfairly hurting the Tigers. I think that the Tigers, whether there's a shift or not, they can't hit. Like when you look at, for instance, Spencer Torkelson, nobody is looking at him as a victim of the shift. He's not hitting the ball with power. When you think about somebody being a victim of the shift, you think of somebody hitting a line drive right at a fielder who's not positioned in a traditional spot. Like if they've got 3 infielders on the left side of the field, and one of those infielders is in short left field, and Spencer Torkelson lines it to the shortstop who's in short left field, that's being a victim of the shift. But when you're hitting weak pop-ups on fastballs at 93 miles per hour down the middle, that is not an example of of hitting restrictions or the shift making things more challenging for you. Also at 248-539-9797. 5 picks to go for the Tigers to pick. Get ready to copy and paste your opinion on their pick. Can't wait in Livonia. Get ready to copy and paste your opinion on their pick. But what the pick from last year when they drafted Jackson Jobe over Marcelo Meyer. I mean, maybe I wonder if they draft Brock Porter because he's got local ties and he's got Detroit roots in him. I wonder if the feeling about him being drafted at number 12 overall will be different than Jackson Jobe being drafted. I think it will be different because when the Tigers were drafting 5th overall and there were players that could have been, or at least in some mock drafts, were number 1 overall on the board, it made sense to say, how can you go draft this high school pitcher, even though he was a great high school pitcher, anybody that's drafted that high is going to be great, over a guy who could have been drafted number 1 overall. When you're drafting 12th, and I would imagine that all the guys that were going to be selected, or at least in the mock draft selected 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, or probably all the top 5, maybe even all the top 8 are going to be gone. There won't be as much vitriol if they take a hometown player, a number 12 overall, in Brock Porter, especially because some of the mock drafts have the Tigers taking Porter, and I wouldn't be surprised if some have Porter going even earlier than number 12. Has he been taken yet? No, 9 picks are off the board, and he has not been taken. So 10, 11, and then the Tigers are on the board. So it looks like maybe in the second hour of this draft, they're starting to pick up the speed just a little bit. Also at 248-539-9797 about Torkelson. Torque is in his own head at this point, and he'll just have to fight through it, and I would imagine he'll get better next year. I would imagine that as well, which is why my prediction for Torkelson is that 3 years from now, he'll be a pretty good major leaguer. I don't think he's going to be great. I don't think he's going to be an all-star in 3 years, but I think he'll be a pretty good major leaguer. One more at 248-539-9797. Here's the ticket text. It says, my point was you are clueless. Your knowledge starts and ends with mock drafts. Well, and look, I admitted that. When it comes to the mock drafts about Major League Baseball, and it comes to the actual draft about Major League Baseball, I admit that I'm clueless. I even mentioned that last hour, that I'm clueless about all these players, and it's all going to come down to mock drafts. These experts who know a heck of a lot more than me about the mock drafts, they've been studying this stuff for months. So if Al Avila drafts somebody that, according to these mock drafts, would have been on the board at 26, then I'm going to criticize the pick. And if it's somebody that was supposed to go 7th or 8th and it's still there, number 12, and he takes him, then I'll be more likely to praise it. So, yes, when you say that I'm clueless about these players, you're absolutely right. 100% agree with that. I don't think there's any dispute about that. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that I know anything about Drew Jones or Cam Collier or Cade Horton. That would be disingenuous. And I don't sit here and lie to you guys about players that I don't know about. 248-539-9797. Man, woman, or child is next here on 97.1 The Ticket.
Hi, this is Mike Perpera of National Benefit Plans, and you've heard me talk about affordable health insurance. Well, today I'm going to talk about providing you with affordable life insurance. I shop from over 70 different life insurance carriers nationwide. You won't be dealing with some phone jockey from 6 states over or wondering, is it available in my state? Instead, you will talk with me, Mike Perpera. I will make sure you get a policy that is right for you. Call me, Mike Perpera, at 877-734-2200 or on the web at nbphealth.com. And remember, National Benefit Plans would like to be your health and life insurance agency for a lifetime.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Maple Ridge Medical Clinic. Is erectile dysfunction damaging your relationship? Are you sick of the pill and all the side effects? Well, welcome to the future. We have a major medical breakthrough. Maple Ridge Medical Clinic uses the most advanced form of wave therapy. Backed by 60 clinical studies, our technology uses pressure waves to repair and open up blood vessels. We've helped countless men get rid of their ED. But what is the true end result? Their relationship, even their lives, improve drastically. If you're ready to regain your love life, call us right now, and not only will the assessment and ultrasound be free, we'll also give you a gift that produces immediate results in the bedroom. It almost never fails. This is worth $550, and it's free to callers right now. 313-403-3333. That's 313-403-3333. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and experience what I call the happiness ripple effect. Call Maple Ridge Medical Clinic now. 313-403-3333.
The Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council present the story of Cynthia and Ed.
My mother was always very active and independent, and she was familiar with her neighborhood. But one day, out of the blue, she stopped at the stop sign for much longer than usual. And she didn't know whether she should go forward or turn or just stay at the stop sign. She wasn't even really sure where she was at. She was very concerned. It was very unsettling for her.
It's important for you to talk to someone about it, to bring the family in on it. I felt so much better after my son told me, Mom, I don't want you to worry or be afraid. I'll be there for you and we'll figure it out.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You don't see as well as you used to, and it's getting worse. You're not sure where to turn for support. Wondering what's next? Vision loss doesn't have to hold you back from living the life you want. The National Federation of the Blind can help, whether you're blind or experiencing vision loss. Visit nfb.org to connect with people in your community and get support. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
At Children's Cancer Research Fund, we believe a world without childhood cancer is possible, but it takes all of us. And whether it's developing a groundbreaking treatment or helping a girl realize her dream, everyone has a role in a child's cancer journey. Just ask researcher Brandon Moriarty about his latest breakthrough, a genetic biomarker treatment.
Children's Cancer Research Fund is a great organization. They provide funding to really dig deep into the research and make more progress. We were able to start a clinical trial that's led by Emily Greengard.
The hope is that these types of therapies are going to be more effective and a lot better tolerated, a lot more safe for the patients.
People ask me how I keep a smile on my face. It's easy when you have so many great people that take care of you and support you.
To find out how you can be a part of a child's cancer journey and a part of the cure, visit childrenscancer.org. A public service message from Children's Cancer Research Fund.
97.1 The Ticket would like to remind you that when you text the ticket, standard text messaging rates apply.
Torque's gonna be fine. We just gotta let him walk.